Hello and welcome to JDR. This week I have a very special interview with an author. She's written a book called Ouvrir les portes à ses vies antérieures, which means in English, open the door to your past lives. And we discuss for almost an hour the concept of past lives. What are they? How do they influence perhaps your day-to-day life? And how do they influence your creativity? So we go into the subject in quite a lot of detail, and it's all in English. She is French and her book is actually only in French at the moment, but she plans to translate it very soon. It's published by Vies and it's available on Amazon. I'll put the link below for you. We filmed the interview as a live for Instagram, but I filmed it at the same time for you from my YouTube channel. This interview was absolutely fascinating. I learned a lot, so I hope you find it interesting too. Enjoy!
Or they encounter someone they never met before, and they have that very strong feeling, very deep feeling to say, I've been there before. And for some people, they have some proper memories coming to their mind. You know, they can have like kind of flashbacks, or maybe sometimes smell, sometimes something they can hear and say, oh my god, I heard that before. But it was in that timeline. Deja vu, yeah. But deja vu is something different because, yes, it's something which is difficult to, you know, to figure out, because we don't really know what it's about. The deja vu is something so strange, isn't it? It's like,
but it's such a strong feeling.
It's a strong, yeah, exactly.
So it's like that.
Exactly, they are like that, and they come from really the inside of the people, and they say, well, I come to see you because I had that, or I had that dream, or I had that feeling, I saw myself there and there. It's your past life, you know?
Okay, so is it something that can sort of invade your life? Can it take over some people's lives, just feeling that they're not really who they are, they're somebody else, or they're living in the wrong time?
Yes, in certain past lives, not all of them, thank God, otherwise we'll be overwhelmed, but for some people, and on certain past lives, I was talking before about the Templars memories or war memories, which are very strong.
Yeah,
then
I've heard about that.
Some people who have that have this kind of you know, like they're so touchy about it, you know, they can feel those things. No, not phobias. Yeah, it could be phobias, like maybe like guns and all that you talk about, or violence.
Yeah,
it can be that, but it's often what they remember, which is very strong, or the people they lost, and then they can live and live again this sensation of loss, the feeling of the loss.
But they haven't literally in their own life, they haven't lost anybody.
Exactly.
And that must be really difficult.
It is very difficult, and that's very interesting because there's a doctor, a female doctor in India who studied that, who's called Dr. Baranji, because normally if you want to remember something, your brain needs to live it, you know, it needs to get the informations, to treat the informations so you can remember them. Yeah. But how can you remember something you never lived? How can your brain do that if you never saw it before? And so what she says is that the soul may have its own memory system.
Hey.
And then for a reason we don't know, all of a sudden we drop the information out. So that's one of the theory from the doctor. She's Indian, she did great jobs.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Now you have a think.
So you touched on the soul. So it's something that goes throughout your whole life and into another life and just keeps going. Are some people new souls? Like are people older than others?
Yes, I really believe that some people are older than others. That's fair, you know. There's a time you have to come, and a time, you know. So yeah, I think there are some new souls. You have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Afterwards, there's kind of legend saying that you can recognize old souls and new souls. I would say it is partly true. Some people think you can recognize old souls regarding what they do in this life, and I don't think it's very accurate, because maybe one person is very shallow in this life, she just like the money, having the career and all that, and doesn't care about the spiritual, but maybe that's why she comes to experiment in this life. It doesn't mean she hasn't been someone super spiritual in another life, you know.
Just having a go at something a bit easier.
Something different, something easier.
Yeah.
And you can have the contrary as well. But you have to start somewhere. But what I would say, maybe if you want to recognize an old soul to a new soul, is the energy. I wrote in my book, because my grandfather used to say that, in French we say, how do we say? I forgot now, I speak English. Les yeux sont le reflet de l'âme.
Okay,
so your soul is going to reflect it.
Window to your soul.
Exactly.
So true.
So look at people's eyes and measure the vibrations and the energy, and then you can have a hint.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah, I just get absorbed into people's eyes.
Especially you as an artist. I mean, you have to feel the energy.
Yeah.
You know, before you paint, like the couple you showed me before. I mean, I would just see the picture of them on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a picture.
Just pictures.
I've met the son.
I've met their son.
You met the son.
And he's so much like his parents, and you can just tell. I feel like I know the parents because I've met the son.
Yeah, you see. Yeah, so you get connected to him to get to the parents.
And I saw a painting actually of somebody, and her eyes made me think of you. And I nearly sent you a picture of it, and I thought, no, she'll think I'm very strange if I do that. But I have it.
It's again strange, but
it's your eyes.
Strange.
Like, wow, that's
strange
incredible.
to me. I mean, look.
I'll send it to you.
Is it someone alive?
I think she is. It's this artist called Abdoway or something. He's a digital artist.
Oh,
he
yeah.
paints beautifully, but digitally. I thought
yes.
it was quite handy. But these eyes are your eyes, and I was like, "Whoa, that's really crazy."
Oh, that's weird. Well, send that to me then. I'm very curious.
I will. No, it's funny. It's funny how. Okay. My other question I was thinking when you were talking about the soul is, so can anybody's, is it eternal? Or do you at some point, does your soul go, right, that's enough, I've had enough lives now, I've done everything I need to do, and I'm going to go, well, I don't know, wherever you go.
I'm a retired soul.
Up to heaven maybe. Or,
yeah.
Well, yeah, and how does it tie in with heaven if you just keep coming back?
Yeah, but the thing is that, of course, we can't be sure of anything, can we?
No.
Always, we talk about it just in like theories, because of course, I think we are too short-minded, and our brain is too small to understand a tiny percentage of it. So we're trying to figure out what we can. What I think is that possibly the soul stops coming back. I mean, like if it learns enough, then maybe it goes, what the Buddhists say, to like a nirvana or something.
That sounds nice.
Yes, that's what, yes, that's what the Buddhists think. You know, when your soul is delivered of the cycles of the samsara, they call it, I think. The samsara is a cycle of suffering and the cycle of fears. And when you got delivered from it, then you can reach the nirvana. Okay. You know, that's the beliefs. Afterwards, can the soul say, well, now I have enough, it's time for me to take a few holiday, thank you very much. Often I laugh about it with some friends and say, well, that's my last life, I had enough, so I stop for at least a few years and then I may come back.
Yeah.
We don't know how it works, of course, but we can try to figure out.
Okay. What inspired you to write a book on the subject of past lives?
Why did I want to write a book about it? Oh, right. I always wanted to write a book about it, you know, but the difficult thing about writing a book, especially on that subject, it's a bit like art for that, is like letting you go into it. Because of course it's a very specific subject. I mean, some people think it's completely fibs, you know, and say, well, that's, you know, it's nonsense. And some people will get into it very easily and very deeply. So you have to allow yourself to express it in a book. But for that, you know, you have to let go of your head and say, okay, I'll write that, whatever, I'll write it. So it took me years and years to allow myself to talk about it. And finally, I was pushed, I should say, by my own past lives to do it. Like, I have to talk about it. I have to tell people how I felt about it and how I lived them. It's just my own truth, you know. It's not something universal. You will live your past life in another way. But it's just one opinion amongst the others.
So it's your own personal experience that really pushed you to,
Yes.
to write the book.
Yes.
Did you explain what you've experienced in the book?
A few. I just shared a few experiences. Sorry, and some people as well I interviewed. They have a few which are not mine, but I find very strong. You know, especially the last one of my book, who talks about war. You know, as someone that experienced a very strong war past life.
Wow,
it's very interesting. Yeah.
Goodness. Does that person have problems like hearing fireworks, and do they like, or when planes go over, or do they really love going to see, I don't know, air shows?
No, but it's a person, as far as I know, who is very attracted by certain countries, you know, where they lived the war, and he still has the problematic of loss, for example. You know, and what else? He doesn't do well, of course, today, but on the contrary, he goes and helps people in war situations. You see, so that's very interesting to see how it got reversed.
Yeah, like real empathy for people that are living through it, because he really feels that he has.
Yes, that's
so
very interesting.
And what about, I suppose like there's some people that are just, you know, perhaps very depressed or very sad. They don't really know why. They say, you know, everything's great in my life, but I just feel miserable all the time. Maybe they've had just a really awful experience in a past life. And
maybe. But at the same time, I think a past life can have an influence on your present life. Sometimes very strong, like those memories of war, which are very strong. But I still think that our problems are not caused by past lives, you know. I think if you feel depressed, you don't really know why, of course we can explore that world of past lives. I mean, there's an influence, but just like a mirror, not like a direct cause, you see. That would be too easy.
Like, just blame it all on.
It's because of my past life, forget about it, you know. So, and I probably would dig into psychogenealogy and stuff like that, you know, or maybe a trauma when you were younger, whatever. I would work it out with the whole thing, you know.
So you explain maybe what you do for people with your knowledge of past lives. How can you help them if they come to see you? What can you do?
Usually they come to see me because they want a channeling, you know. They want to channel past lives. But I explain to them that they're not random past lives I channel. I will try to channel only past life that can help them in this life.
Okay.
That can be a mirror. Like, for example, if you got someone who, if you talk about, I don't know, like someone who's been jailed so many times in past lives, you know. But there's not only the jail, like the jail. You could be jailed in many ways. You know, you could be jailed because you are stuck in your house in the 17th century by a terrible husband. You can be jailed because you've been a criminal. You can be jailed because you've been in a monastery and you don't want to be there. You see? And then show people that it can be a mirror to their problematics today, but it's not the cause, because if I look in the present, I can see
there's things in the present too.
There's things like a mirror, you know. But it's like a light in the darkness for me, the past lives, you know. I show you where to work.
Okay, so you can guide people to how to get better once you've channeled their past lives.
Yes, like, you know, like, let's say you see that's what your past life will show you where to work today.
Okay,
you have to work this and that, that'd be good for you. That will help you to go further in your life.
That's so interesting. Did you have an experience yourself with a past life that you'd like to share?
Yes, I had many experiences of past lives, but they all turning around the same. But I had many different memories, but there's only one period of history and one country that really marked my present life. I don't know why. I don't know why this one. It could be many others, but I want this one. It's in my book. I'm not very clear in my book, but it's in England, as I told you. You know, I was very well attached to England.
And you've lived your whole life in France?
I live my whole life in France, yes, but I'm French.
And 100% French?
Flemish and French.
Okay, but certainly not English in any way.
No, I'm going to be English blood, but not by my direct ancestors, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just going to close the door. Carry on.
Oh, yeah.
So Do you want to share your experience?
Yeah, well, I don't want to share it directly because it's something very personal, but because this one in my book, I'm like a little game. I just named some people, so people can figure out which century my past life and my main past life was.
Okay.
With names and places, so people can figure out. But I try not to be too explicit on it. Because
how did you figure it out yourself? How did you have a very strong feeling that you had lived before in England? And then what did you do? Go to the library and look at books, look at pictures, try to see what spoke to you?
I think I had many lives, not only one life in England, probably a few in England, quite close to each other, in terms of time.
Okay.
But when I was a little girl already, I had that feeling. I used to talk English to myself. I never learned it, I started learning when I was 10 years old. And before 10 years old, I used to talk to myself in English. And my grandfather got a bit concerned and said, "Well, she speaks English." That's a
and
real
it was
thing.
good, correct English.
I can't tell for sure because I was so tiny, and my grandparents didn't speak English, so it's difficult to say.
They could recognize.
They could recognize, the thing. And as well, I just recognize people in books.
Wow.
And so I used to say, that's not quite the Greek portraits. It's not as accurate as it should be. And then I always had those feelings. But when you're a little girl, it's not a problem, is it? It's just like, it's a normal thing. It's in you.
Yeah.
It's when you grow up, it becomes a problem.
Okay.
Because you know how.
Yeah.
You need to have your straight way of thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I think people perhaps are becoming more open-minded.
Yes, they do. They do. But then I studied science. So,
so you'd be surrounded by people.
It shut my mind completely for a few years.
Oh, that's a shame. I watched a documentary about reincarnation, and it was really interesting, how small children have these memories, but then they forget it as they get older. But they have these very vivid, strong memories, and like you said, they recognize people in books and faces and family, and they did a scientific experiment on these children.
Are you talking about Stephenson? Doctor, neuropsychiatrist.
Bald guy.
Yes, probably. Who studied about 200 children.
Yeah.
Yes, that's him.
He
wrote a wonderful book about it with all these researches. It's fascinating. Yeah,
absolutely amazing. And for me, it was like proof of past lives and reincarnation specific.
As you noticed, he studied kids all around the world.
Yes,
but he targeted India because in India it is something
not to do.
Not at all. I mean, people just having the dinner and they talk about their past lives. When I was in this family like 200 years ago, I was doing this and that. There's no taboo. While here, I just would look at with the big guy and say, what is she talking about? So I think it was easier for him to work with Indian children, but I know he worked worldwide, not only India.
Yeah.
But it's so the details, it's so much detail that it's impossible to have another explanation.
And I think it's nice because it takes away perhaps the fear of dying, which we're so afraid about talking about in the West. People never discuss death, or they do, but it's discussed with so much fear. Whereas in like the Indian culture, people are so much more accepting and open, and just probably because they openly accept the idea that you can carry on.
Yeah, no, I think you're correct. I think here in our countries, we don't face death. No. Death is always hidden away from us.
Yeah.
We can talk about it, but as long as it stays away from us. So of course, it does emphasize the fear.
Definitely. What if somebody feels like they've lived a past life and that they've got certain things in their lives that are making them feel this way? How can they go about finding out more about that past life? How can they develop that knowledge?
Very good question. There are many ways to do it. What I always tell people is like, just trust yourself, first of all. Trust the first feelings you got in your gut first. Don't let your mind and your brain take over. Otherwise, that's done. Once you manage that, then you can go further with different tools, I have to say. There's the shamanic experience, which is often very liked and approved by people because it's surrounded by a professional, with drumming, for example, and it lowers down the frequency of your brain, and then you can get into a kind of trance or something, And sometimes you can reach like to a flashback of past life memories.
Wow.
I would tell other people not to doubt too much about certain dreams. Not all of them. I mean, some dreams are completely Freudian, you know, and completely linked to your unconscious. But some dreams as well got something else, and you feel it when you dream.
Yeah.
And I would tell that to people, just when you wake up in the morning and you feel like a dream wasn't quite a dream, just write it down and see what it was in it and what it means to you.
Yeah, because otherwise you just forget about it. You go about your day.
Yes.
And you can learn things about your personality and who you are, I suppose, if you look into your dreams and your past life and try to understand it better.
Yes, absolutely. There's of course the hypnosis, which is available to get through past lives. Spiritual hypnosis or regressive hypnosis as well. I'm not a great fan of that, but it's just my opinion, because you know I like to get the control, so I would be a bit scared like no.
Oh, I've been hypnotized.
So how was it?
It was really, really amazing.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I lost control at any point. Have you ever been hypnotized?
They tried to do it.
Okay.
For my fear of plane.
Okay.
But I was trying so much to control it that I couldn't let go.
I
couldn't let go. So yes, I'm not very good at it, but I know it gives good results, you know, even, I mean, for normal problems like present problems, but as well for past lives, especially with spiritual hypnosis.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's paths, if people are, you know, curious and they want to explore, they can go and see sort of a specialist in the... Yes,
there are really some people just dealing with that bit, so you really get more in touch with energy, the guides, all those things, you know, so something very targeted.
What about if people have, I've heard about this, you know, like a physical issue somewhere, like an ailment, some pain that they have and they can't understand why they have it, they've never hurt themselves, but for example, like I have lots of people have very stiff neck, or people are uncomfortable wearing necklaces, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Can you find an explanation for that kind of thing in a past life?
Yes, sometimes it can be past lives. I say that because it happened to me. It wasn't the direct cause of it, but it was emphasizing the symptom. But sometimes regarding the throat, it's quite common. Like people can't wear scarves because they feel choked and all that. Often we have past life with the death linked to hanging or having their head chopped off. But yes, but as well, it could be something that belonged to the ancestors, to the family. You know, so it's difficult to make that.
There's genetic memory too.
Exactly.
That's a whole other thing.
And
is that linked? Is it the same? No.
Yeah, but for a long while, I thought it wouldn't be linked. And now in my consultations, I can often see a mirror effect between both.
Okay.
I mean, I can see people with a strong past life, with the trauma, or just something they remember very well in terms of past lives. And when I question them about their family history, then I can see there's a mirror effect, like something linked to it.
Yeah.
So it's like, is the soul decide to come back in one family on purpose? You know,
perhaps it's easier for a soul because they kind of already know what they're dealing with.
Yeah, exactly. They recognize each other. Say, "Oh, you're gonna have that in that life, so I come back because I understand you so well."
Yeah.
Maybe
I didn't work with you, but I'll try it out with your grandchild. You know.
Exactly. So we don't know, but it's all about theories.
That's so interesting. I'm part of a long line of only daughters.
That's interesting.
My grandmother, my mother, me and my daughter were all just only daughters.
That's interesting. Have you been further up in your tree?
Further up there was another sister. There were two.
Oh, so that'd be interesting. What happened?
Well, they didn't get on. I know they didn't get on.
Oh, that's interesting. That's so interesting.
But after that, nobody knows why. Like my mum wasn't able to have any more. I wasn't able to. No, it stops there.
Wow, that's
one daughter done.
That could be a genetic memory.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly.
Especially that it goes further and further.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe there's something linked to past lives as well.
That's really interesting. Worth looking into.
Yeah.
So we've done the incarnation. Where do you think inspiration comes from?
That's a tricky question. Well, inspiration, I think it's linked to the soul inspiration. For the painters, for the writers, I don't know, musicians, you know, any kind of people using the creativity, I think it comes from the soul, you know. I think that we said before when I came in, like, it's something in us.
Yes.
And around us. But to have access to inspiration, we have to let go. We have to let our head go, our mind goes, you know, so we can open the channel for inspiration.
You certainly can't force it. It just comes when it comes.
Yep.
And that's why so many artists get frustrated, because it's like, I need to make a painting, but I don't feel like it.
And why don't you often, why do you think you can't do it? Well, you want to do it, but you can't do it. You see, I need that inspiration to paint, but I don't know what I'm going to paint. Oh, I'm stuck there. I don't know what color I'm going to use. So what do you think blocked you at that time?
The needing to do it.
Yes, so it's your mind, isn't it?
Yes,
it's your
absolutely, 100%.
brain.
Yeah. It's when you feel a pressure.
Yeah.
That's what I was very afraid about when I became a professional artist. I thought, oh God, is it going to become impossible for me to paint because I know I have to? Whereas before it was a hobby and fun, you know. But luckily it hasn't.
It didn't make the difference. You didn't feel the difference.
No,
because you're still enjoying your painting.
I feel very lucky to have the time now to do it.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's good, but I was quite worried about that.
Yeah.
But I know now, I mean, like with the portrait that I'm working on at the moment, I know that if right now I'm not quite inspired to paint it, like the colours. I don't know quite how they're going to work, and I just know that it'll come. And it's usually in the morning, first thing, that I feel most inspired. And I think it's because throughout the day your consciousness takes over. You think too much and you become too sort of grounded in your day-to-day chores and everything. Whereas first thing when you wake up in the morning, you're more rested and you're perhaps closest to your subconscious.
Yeah,
and that's
totally agree. Because you just wake up, so obviously your brain can't just work to its full craziness yet, you know.
Yeah.
So it's when the channel is open still, you know.
Yeah.
Even if I think it's much more open at night and when you fall asleep, you know, when you start to fall asleep, you have an idea, say,
oh, completely.
Damn, I have to get up and write it down.
Yeah, just before you fall asleep and just when you wake up, it's the best time to be creative.
Because the channel is open.
Yeah.
What I wonder why is that, look, like I'm writing, so I'm often very inspired to write, but I can't paint. I'm rubbish. I can't draw, I can't paint.
Have you tried? Have you really tried?
I know when I was a kid I used to paint a lot and I enjoyed it. And I don't know why, it all fell down and I feel that I can't do it, you know, just like, it doesn't come, I don't know how to do it, I don't know to be technical. Here is my brain talking again, of course, if I talk about technique. So I'm wondering why we are more inspired sometimes by the words or by pictures or colours. I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah. Each artist has their medium, don't they? So some will be writing, some will be music, some are dancers.
Yes, absolutely.
Some are painters. All different ways of expressing yourself. You can't, I don't think, be all of those. I think it's difficult. I think it's good to develop one. Yes. Or two, maybe.
I think it would take too much space, you know, in your channeling. It would be very difficult to do it all.
Exhausting.
Yes, absolutely.
You go mad.
But I just wonder why, you know, we target painting or writing. Does it have a link at any point, you know, with past lives or with genetic memory? I don't know.
Quite possibly. Yeah. I don't think about it. I don't analyse it.
And now there you go.
Now I will. I think that's great. But that's so interesting. Past life memories. Past life memories. How do they get passed on to us?
Yeah. The thing is, we don't remember them all. That's the thing. Some people don't remember any at all. Some people remember just one, or like I remember a few of them, but I just feel attached to one in particular. Why? I have no idea why. And I've been very blocked at the beginning of, you know, my work, my personal work, because I was always looking for answers to those questions. But as I said at the start, I think we are too limited in terms of, our brain is too small to understand it. So with the time, I managed to slow down about, I have to understand it. So as it passed on to us, I think the theory of the Dr. Berangi is really good, to say that the soul would have its own memory system. And like for a reason that we don't know, then it just sends the energy to our brain, and our brain does analyze the energy and does transform it into a picture, into a sound, into a smell, into a flashback or whatever. I think for me, it's the more pertinent way to see it, but maybe I'm completely wrong. Just completely wrong, and it's not that at all. I have no idea.
We don't know. We just don't
but I think
know,
the theory is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because when you have a past life memory, as you didn't live this memory in this life, as we said, you can't remember it. It's impossible. Your brain can't just encode the information. It's impossible. So it's like mediumnity. It's like a signal which is sent to your brain at that time.
Because people can have really detailed memories
Yes.
from something they've never lived.
Exactly.
So yeah, the scientists would say, how is this possible?
Exactly. Yeah.
But people can, mind you, I suppose in a way it's a bit like having a dream. Because you can have a dream, you've never lived it, but you can have a dream and it can be extremely detailed.
Yes. With the addition key of the energy. In the dream, that which is something about consciousness, and in consciousness, like very Freudian dreams, like you dream you kill your neighbor because she gets on your nerves. That's complete in consciousness and completely your pulsions coming out.
Yes.
But in certain dreams, like we said earlier, there is addition of energy into it. There's something strange, something weird, something different that makes you think that there's something going on there which is not quite Freudian at all.
Or dreams that can be, I've had dreams that are extremely detailed and you feel like you've lived it, but you can't relate it to your day-to-day. Like you say, most dreams you can think, oh, that's because my neighbour gets on my nerves. Or,
yeah.
But some you think, why on earth was I doing that? Why was I in, China? And why was I there? What on earth was I doing? I've not watched a documentary about China and I don't want to go there and I'm not even interested. So why did I have this really detailed dream, for example, about, being a Chinaman? And that's when I think it gets really
absolutely, because there you think, well, there's something, which is not right, but I mean, like it's different. Yeah. There's no reason. And you feel it in your guts because there's something with the energy as well. And when you wake up, say, that was me before, at some point,
I don't think many people, I don't know, I haven't had many conversations with people that I know who would even consider that. I don't think it's an idea that's very common in the West.
I think,
what could that be? Oh, a past life, it's not something we talk about.
I think it's much more common than we think, but people don't dare talking about it.
Okay.
There's a taboo on it.
Yeah.
Because when I make conferences or workshops with people just about past lives, they just, oh, I had this and I had that. I remember this, I remember that. And could it be this or that? They just like, they have their mind open, but the society we live in just like, oh, come on, stop telling
nonsense.
Nonsense. Yeah.
Oh, I think but there's so much more that we need to learn. I think there's so much need for knowledge and for understanding and opening our minds to other possibilities. It can't do any harm, and I think it just enriches everybody if we can explore all the different possibilities.
It does, but I think we need many lives to do it.
For sure, definitely. I wonder sometimes why I paint kisses all the time.
Yes.
And I don't know why. I don't know
I
why.
I can't tell you why
much.
either, but what I was very into, because I got one of your lovely painting, which was called Twin Flames. Yeah. And when I met you at the exhibition, then what I said to you is like, I love your art because we feel the energy into it, So I don't know why you're painting kisses, but I think it's because you're, first of all, a very sensitive person. You get this,
Definitely very sensitive.
You're very emotional. You get a lot of empathy that allows you to paint love. But why kisses in particular? There could be, we could say something very human after all, like the kiss, touch between people. But who knows? Maybe you had a secret lover in a past life and you need to reproduce it in your heart.
Gosh, some kind of lady of the night and just kissing all these men all the time. I don't know. Who knows? No, I just think there's such an energy when two people come together and connect, and I think friendship as well, and closeness, like holding hands and things. And I think that's when there's like something else. One person on their own is great, but two people who understand each other. My theory is, we're all sort of part of the universe, and when the universe sees itself through another person, it's pretty amazing.
I agree with you.
That's what I try to communicate through my art.
And I think you do it really well, actually. And I really love your very last one.
They're looking at each other too, but you can't tell.
You can't see.
You can't see what they're looking at. I just keep painting that. I do some other things too, some sunsets and stuff, but mostly it's all about love.
Yeah, so you painted animals as well. There's elephants here. I know there's a lion as well. Maybe you sold it. You sold the lion?
No, I've sold one lion.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, but again, it's always two animals together and connecting, and usually, and just keep doing it. So. But I don't even ask the question. I think it's really good to question these things. Why do I do what I do?
Maybe there's a reason. Maybe we're not ready to understand it. Maybe as long as it doesn't stop you painting and being creative, that's fair enough to question yourselves. But there would be a pity if all your questioning would come in the way and say, oh, now I can't paint anymore.
That's it. That's a lot of artists, when they do start to question too much or overthink things, then they can't produce it anymore. So it's best not to. I have another question about science, because I like science and I like proof and I like scientific studies and things. Have there been any studies that you've looked at that have proven the existence of past lives?
Well, that I like science very much. I studied science. So.
Yes.
So for a long time, as I said to you, I was very attached to have proofs. I wanted to prove it. And before writing, I said, I won't write before I'm able to prove what I say. But it's obviously impossible to prove what I say in my book. It's the approach of past lives with my own feelings and what I've been living. There were some studies, like the Dr. Stephenson. He did a great study with a large sample of 200 children studied, but not the children, the speech have been studied. And it's not only studying and just take the story and write it down. No, you remember, if you saw the documentary, he takes the stories, but he goes and dig into it. He asks neighbors, he gets into the archives of the police and all that, to prove that the speech is correct. To me, it's already a massive proof of past life existence. And regarding Dr. Stephenson, I think, if I got a good memory, that 20 of those cases have been isolated by the scientific community to say we have no other explanation.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Than past lives. And as well, quantum physics is very interested in past lives, because in quantum physics...
What's quantum physics?
Oh, right. I'm not an expert.
Quantum.
Yes, but dimensions, like of multi-dimensions and black holes and all that. Yes.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah, so it's about, because they believe in multi-dimensions. They think that time and space actually don't exist in itself, that they meet each other.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Oh, this
like the deja vu,
Yeah. Well, Einstein,
exactly. Einstein is a great believer of that. Yes.
Yeah. Time doesn't exist at all in the way that we see it.
Exactly.
Which would that explain past lives, or would that? Because according to Einstein, everything happens right now, all at once, all the time, and
Yes.
it's another dimension.
So it means it could be you, Jane, here painting. It could be Jane in the 16th century, or you could be called Victor in the 13th century, somewhere else in another part of the world.
Mhm.
You know, you could be. Some people think we could be reincarnated at different places, or in different timeline.
Okay.
And it belongs to quantum physics, this concept.
So it sort of all draws together. That's why we need to have more scientific studies into
Exactly. If only. If only.
Yeah.
I know there's a doctor, I think it's Dr. Lanza he's called. He studied reincarnation in terms of quantum physics theories. I never read it entirely, but it looks very interesting.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
is interesting.
Yeah.
That puzzles me. My brain's kind of not
It's gonna get on
dealing with
fire.
that. Yeah, pretty much. Just the idea. I was reading about it just recently. Something made me think about it, and if everything's happening at once, then how does? No, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we too.
Can't do that. Can't do that.
No, we can't do that. I don't think we can indeed. I think this is where we have to accept we are, for the moment, we don't know enough. And we don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah. And I think we don't use our brain as much as we should.
And do you think understanding the concept of past lives can really help humanity in the long run?
Well, we talk a lot at the moment about life after death. This is already something settled, and some studies have been done on it. Some, of course, are pro that theory, and some are against, you know. But even as some doctors start to think, well, you know, I got some patients, they died, and they could tell me what was happening in the room, how weird that is, you know. And they start questioning it as well, you know. So I think if we can question ourselves about life after death, we probably can question ourselves about life before birth, you know. I think, as you said before, it could help people to be much more relaxed about death and about the aim of our presence here.
And perhaps it will help people to not take themselves quite so seriously. If you think that you're kind of almost a vessel for a soul that's doing more important things than just you and your small little life right now. Perhaps you're just a tiny part of a long journey throughout hundreds of years of this one soul. That's quite a nice. That's a kind of humbling feeling.
Yes, I think that could help us in this way as well, in other many ways that I'm not quite, I can't figure them out right now, but I think it could be a lot of good things for humanity. But, for the moment it's quite shut.
Yeah.
But I mean,
we
you're
take
not gonna
ourselves too seriously. I think that's one of humanity's problems, like
Because I think we put we put so much death as a deadline, if I dare say. Death is a deadline.
Yeah, like I've got to live this amazing life, and I've got to be successful, and I've got to do this, this, and this, and this, because then afterwards I'm going to die and it's all over.
Yes,
that's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure. But maybe someone who thinks that for herself or himself, maybe is this. That's why he or she came to fulfill in this life.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a life under pressure. You don't know what it is about.
And then they'll come back and they'll be all like, "Wait, chill."
And maybe we get there, we die, and they say you failed, you completely messed it up. Just go back again. So who knows?
No, who knows? How does heaven fit in with past lives?
Oh, well, that's a question. But heaven is a religious concept, isn't it?
Okay.
Okay. Like, if you mean like something like afterlife.
Yeah, I'm thinking really of the Christian religion, where you just, you die and you go to heaven.
Yes.
Christians would believe that.
Yes. Yeah, I think
many other religions.
Yes.
Paradise.
Yeah. Well, how we say it? Yes, afterlife, world, whatever. Yes, I see what you mean. Well, I think that your soul goes somewhere else when it dies, and then, for a reason we don't know, decides, maybe not alone, by the way, maybe the soul is not the only entity to decide of the fact that it's coming back or not on Earth, and then so the choice happens. comes back, not coming back. I don't know why. But yes, I think like heaven or the afterlife world will be like a stop before reincarnation, like a break, a few
Just go on a
days,
little holiday in a nice hotel
and I come
somewhere.
back.
Float about for a bit, play some music on your harp,
Exactly.
and then come back down and get on with it.
Exactly.
That sounds good.
Yes, but it's so funny because in Greece, you know, in antiquity, a long time ago, then they used to say that when you die, you don't go to heaven. Your soul jumps straight away into another body.
Oh.
And this is funny story, which is not so funny, but that, you know, like Pythagoras, you know, the math experts.
Okay. Oh, Pythagoras.
Yeah,
yes,
Pythagoras.
okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Then he had some students, of course, you know, with him. And those students became the masters. And one of his students just took other students just close to a volcano. And he said to them, he said, look, he said, I'm going to jump into the volcano in front of you. And you're going to see me coming back from the other side of the mountain in another body. Well, never heard about it. No one heard from him after that, but you know, just because they were believing that. They thought that when you die, straight away your soul jumps into another body and starts a new life. And they thought that there was a definite numbers of bodies available on Earth for the souls. That's interesting as well.
Yeah.
That's interesting as well.
Makes you feel a bit uncomfortable. Like you don't want anything jumping into me.
No, you're alive. No one's going to jump into you.
Well, there's the whole idea of people becoming possessed as well with other entities, and that's a whole other thing. Does that tie in at all with? No. Okay.
No.
No, that's good.
No.
It's something entirely
It's very, very interesting subject as well, but completely
completely separate.
Yeah.
Good. Don't like that idea.
I think nobody does.
No. Excellent. Do you have anything else you want to say about your book or about your experience or what you're doing? What do you do with your knowledge? You said you mentioned conferences and things.
Yes, I'm doing conferences with other authors who work in the same area than me. Like I got a very sweet friend that wrote about twin flames in a roman, in a novel. So, which is a super novel, by the way. So I do conferences and people come and ask the questions, and I just give my experience. I don't give them the truth because there's no truth. And I don't like truth in that area of work, because we are once again we are too limited to say I got the truth.
Yes.
I mean, no one came back on Earth with a guideline of reincarnation, and why we're here and what's going to happen after death. But I'm trying to just bring them my own experience and try to explain how I lived it, how I felt when I lived it, and that's it.
That's enough. That's what people want to know. That's really interesting. I'll have to read the book. If they want
Yeah,
to
but
know.
it's in
I'll
French.
have to read the book.
It's in French, so
Sign up. They have to learn French and read the book.
you have to learn French. But that's a tough one. Good Lord, this is where maybe they have to come back to learn French.
Do you have any plans to get it translated?
I'd love to. I didn't think about it, I have to say, but maybe one day it got translated. I don't know.
That'd be good.
That'd be good. Yes, that'd be good. I would love to translate it myself, I have to say.
Yeah, good.
Yes, that'd be nice, but maybe not now. I think first of all will be France, and then we should see what happens. But the next book will come out in January, and it will be about the astral world going. When you get out of your body and travel.
Oh wow! Oh my goodness! Oh, I have to look into that. That's so.
You read
interesting.
French, that's all right for you.
Yeah, not very well. Not very comfortably. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing my studies at university if I read French.
Did you study French at university?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So I feel like it just feels like work.
Yes, right. It's just the vocabulary as well can be a bit technical.
So have you done that as well?
I'm writing it right now. It will be.
You've done that too.
Oh
You
yeah.
yourself.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. Yes,
Is that maybe for another video? How long?
Yes,
have you
so
been
there
talking?
will be, I don't know.
How long are you allowed to talk on this thing for?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Do you want to talk about it now or another time? It's up to you.
No, it's fine. Do you have any more questions or?
No.
Because I didn't really got questions on the thing.
I don't know if people are.
We can answer
Any
afterwards.
questions?
We can answer
Yeah, you can
afterwards.
ask
if
them
there's any questions.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. No, I don't have any other questions, I don't think. I'll have probably later on.
Later, I guess. But that would
That
be
was
me
really
too.
nice.
I'm about art. I think I'd like to see how you channel things. That's interesting.
Ah.
How you channel the ideas. and
How?
the colors.
Don't know. Don't know, don't think about it. Just not thinking about it.
Exactly.
It's
Just let it go.
In the shower.
One of my friends who writes a lot is he's a writer, but he's really specialized in police and all that, historical pullers, So, and he says, when I lost my inspiration, I get into the shower.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
funny thing,
It is
because
funny.
and it's interesting because in terms of energy, the water
Mm.
is washing as well.
Yeah.
So,
I get colour inspiration in the shower. I can visualise a group of colours together and I think, oh, yes, must do that. I just have to get out of the shower and go and write it down.
that's a good thing.
Yeah, or at night time, late at night or first thing in the morning.
Yes, like that
Very
is often the thing. Yeah.
But there's no how to it.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah, I write my questions down for you as well. So you have your own interview about art and how it
Oh,
comes up.
yeah.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we could do that. That would be cool.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it was
Yes.
a pleasure
Yes, it was indeed. Thank you very much.
finding out more about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we shall have a video pretty soon about channeling art. That'd
Yeah,
be nice.
definitely.
That'd be nice, that'd be nice.
And astral travel.
Oh God, yes, next time.
Wow, yeah, that's a whole, at least an hour of
Next
questions.
time, yes,
I think.
absolutely. Right,
Excellent.
have a nice evening, everyone. Then
Bye. So that's it. That's all we could fit in today. Hopefully we'll do another interview soon, going into the subject of astral travel and perhaps other interesting subjects that Emmanuelle can discuss with us. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this format. I plan to interview some other artists soon as well, so let me know if you believe in the concept of past lives. If you've had any experiences, go ahead and share them. Do you believe in reincarnation? Did I forget any important questions? Write them down below if you have any questions that I didn't ask, and I will ask Emmanuelle directly to respond for you. That's all for now, so take care, stay creative, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.